And we're back with the final episode of the Seattle Kraken franchise mode. As in the last one, we obviously lost in a sweep to the Chicago Blackhawks, our rivals of the Western Conference Finals, as we, for the past 2 years, have not been able to get past them. We did beat them on our route to the Stanley Cup in year number 8, I believe it was. But for the past 2 years, they have had our number. I mean, all in all, I would say it was a pretty successful GM mode. You know, we've made the playoffs for each of the past 6 years. We got ourselves a Stanley Cup. That's more than a lot of teams can say. And like I said, we've been close for the past 2 years. It's just the only thing standing between us and the Stanley Cup Finals for the past 2 years has been the Chicago Blackhawks, who once again have had our number. So like I said, I think it's been a pretty successful GM mode. Let's just take a look at the stats real quick before we go over the history of the team. So we're going to take a look at the stats for this past playoffs. So Matthews with 20 points in 16 games. Can't complain from him. He did his job. Dubé with 16 points, 14 for Onishko, 13 from Amirov, 10 for Fantilli and Van Sickle, 9 for Brandstrom, 8 for Nurmi, Arvidsson and Koren, 7 for Lauren, 6 for Nemec, 5 for Guliev and Naring, 4 for Shorey, 3 for Samuelson, Zui and Hughes, 1 for Hanak and Kuznetsov. Perry played 1 game, and then Woods got in there for 3 games, and then Oettinger played 15 games. Let's see the goalie stats. So for Oettinger, you have a .918 save percentage in 15 games played with 7 wins, 5 losses, and 2 overtime losses. Then you have Woods with 1 win and 1 loss and an .880 save percentage in 3 games played. So like I've said, I don't blame Oettinger for our playoff loss, especially against the Blackhawks. I mean, they were just, they were overpowering in general. So it's not necessarily solely on Oettinger. So now we're going to get a deeper look at our team history. Of course, in year number 1, we weren't good. We weren't good year number 2 or 3 or 4 either. But then from then on, we did make the playoffs every year since. In 4 out of those 6 seasons, we've had at least 100 points. So I really can't complain as far as the regular season goes. And you know what? We did have 1 Stanley Cup and several conference final appearances. So once again, I would say this was a pretty successful GM mode. Let's take a look at the player index. So here's a list of all the players who have ever played at least 1 game for us. Matthews with 581 points in 482 games. What an absolute beast of a player for us. Amirov with 455, 440 for Dubé, 422 for Fantilli, 373 for Hughes, 299 for Onishko, 285 for Brandstrom, 283 for Nemec. Braden Dubé actually led the way in goals with 242 compared to Matthews' 219. So even though it took him more games to do that, still he is our franchise leader in goals for. Assists goes to Matthews with 362. Total penalty minutes goes to Simon Nemec with 358 penalty minutes. A plus minus goes to Nikita Onishko with a plus 94 on his career with us. And power play goals with 69 goes to Braden Dubé. Power play assists, Austin Matthews with 120. Shorthanded goals, you have a tie. Luke Hughes and Cameron Van Sickle both with 7. Shorthanded assists, Luke Hughes with 11. Game-winning goals, 39 for Austin Matthews. Shots, you have 2,005 for Austin Matthews. And the next guy on the list is not even close. 1,660 for Amirov. Faceoffs with at least 100 faceoffs taken goes to Shane Wright with a 57.2. Hits with 941, Luke Hughes. Giveaways, Adrian Kempe with 216. Takeaways, Adam Pelech with 301. Solid defenseman for us for a long time. And then shots blocked, Luke Hughes with 1,486. And a goal, of course, we didn't have too many goaltenders over the years. It was mostly just Oettinger and then whoever was backing him up at the time. Now, I believe Saros was at one point the starter, but Oettinger took over pretty quickly. So, of course, you have Oettinger leading the way with wins with 242, followed up by Larson, Lindbergh, Saros, Franku, Woods, and then Miska with 1 win. Let's see save percentages. So a 912 for Oettinger, a 912 for Franku, a 911 for Lindbergh, a 910 for Woods. Most of the goaltenders that we had were pretty solid when it comes to their career save percentage with us. As for shutouts, Oettinger had 29, so very solid career with us. Now let's get a look at the staff index. So obviously yours truly with 403 wins on the career and 356 losses. 66 overtime losses and 872 points. 1 championship, of course, and a score of 151. That will change once we roll over to July 1st. We are going to see July 1st in this episode just so that we can, we can finalize everything. And then as for our coaches, we only had 2 coaches throughout this entire GM mode. Of course, we had Gerard Gallant from year number 1 up until at some point in year number 3. He had 75 wins, 149 losses. Of course, that's when we were not a very good team in general. And 22 overtime losses for 172 points and a total score of 4. And Davis Payne for the past 6 years in 579 games played with 328 wins, 207 losses, and 44 overtime losses, 700 points, a championship, and a score of 153. Now, as we check the leaderboards, of course, we saw most of this in the player index, but here it is anyway. Nolan Foote actually led the way with single season hits with 221. Wow. So he may not have been great offensively as far as his, production goes with points and goals and all that, but he was certainly a physical presence. That much is certain. Braden Dubé with 23 power play goals in one season. Points record for a single season is Matthews with 102. Matthews with the assist record as well with 71 in one season. And then Braden Dubé with the goals record with 47 in one season. Onishko with a plus-minus record in one season with 37. Then let's take a look at career. So we saw most of this in the player index. But you have Austin Matthews with 5,354 faceoffs won. And then actually one thing I forgot to check in the player index was games played. You have Luke Hughes with 678 games played. That is the record for all-time players for us. As for goaltenders, most of it's Oettinger, as we would expect for a career. But Jimmy Larson did have the most wins in a single season with 41. Philip Lindbergh had the best save percentage with a 920 in the 26-27 season. And Jimmy Larson, believe it or not, had more shutouts in one season than Oettinger ever did. As for game records, you have Braden Dubé with 4 goals in one game on February 17th, 2025. Austin Matthews with 5 assists in one game on January 5th, 2029. And then Adam Fantilli with 6 points in a game on December 22nd, 2026. Goals for a defenseman, Kirill Kirsanov got a hat trick on December 8th, 2025. Points for a defenseman, Simon Nemec with 4 on October 14th, 2024. Luke Hughes with 4 assists on November 26, 2024. Saves, Philip Lindbergh with 63 saves on February 16th, 2027. And shots in a single game, Anthony Duclair with 13 shots in a game on November 19th, 2022. Adam Pelech with 11 block shots on November 24th, 2023. Adam Fantilli with the most shifts played with 52 in a single game on November 17th, 2026. And then let's see playoff records. You have Austin Matthews with 3 goals in 2026, 4 points in 2026 for him as well. Eric Branson with 3 points in 2029. Saves, Jake Oettinger with 55 on April 23rd, 2026. And there we go. There's all the team history. And I think what we're going to do now is we're going to re-sign a couple of our players, or more specifically, Luke Hughes. Because I'm honestly not sure if we're going to have the room to sign anybody else, depending on what he wants here. It's 6.4 for 4 years. I know I definitely want to bring him back, so we'll try to meet him somewhere in the middle. I'll start at 5.8 for 4 years. All right, yeah, I'll meet him at 6.01 for 4 years. It's not too bad, especially compared to what he's making now. It's only a little bit more than what he's making right now. Now, what would someone like Nemec want? 4.7. If we're signing him, then I don't think we'll be able to afford Samuelson. That's not the worst thing in the world, though. It's not like he was a game breaker. I'll start at 4.22 for 3 years for Nemec and see where we go from there. All right, how about 4.32? No, looks like we're still a ways off. 4.42? There it is. All right, so what do these guys want? What do these guys who are on minor league deals want? Perry wants 2.5. I don't think he's worth that. Lauren, he wants 2.25. He might be worth that. He had 22 points last year. What about Hanak? He had 6 points in 37 games. What does he want? He wants $3 million for 4 years. Don't think so. Do not think so. Agaponov, he's been overall not very impressive, so I don't think I'll even re-sign him. And Samuelson, we could afford to let him go to free agency. So out of the players remaining, I think I would sign Lauren, if anybody. So I think what I'll do for the rest of them, I'll just auto-qualify them, and then we'll see where we go from there. But as for Lauren, he wants 2.25 for 5 years, so we'll definitely try to give him around what he wants. I'll give him 1.95. If I can give him 1.95 for 5 years, that'd be great. It doesn't look like we're really going to be able to save much with him. That's fine. All right, I'll meet him at 2.19. That's close. Close enough. So with all those signings, we are a bit over the salary cap space for next season. But it's the end of the GM mode anyway, so we don't necessarily have to worry about that. But if we were to continue going on with this GM mode, then that's something we would have to definitely address. As for the status of the team itself, I think if we were to go on for another 3 or 4 years, we could very well carry on with this roster as it is. I mean, maybe minus Matthews, because he is getting up there in age. And then as for Oettinger, I think he's still got a lot left in the tank, so he could very well last for the next 3 or 4 years, for the duration of his contract, basically. And he'd be serviceable at the very least. So really, this team is set, I would say, for the next 3 years at least. Obviously, while you have Matthews and Oettinger under contract, it's going to be that much better. Then, of course, you have Brandstrom, you have Hughes soon to be locked up long-term, and then you have Fantilli, Dubé, and a lot of these guys are 27 or younger as well. Hughes is 27, Van Sickle's 27, Nemec is 27, Fantilli's 26, and then these guys down here, Dubé's 25, Onishko's 25, so I would say you could go another 3 years with this roster easily, and at the very least have a good chance of making the playoffs, if not the Stanley Cup. So I think all in all, we did a pretty good job of setting this team up, not only for now, but for the future. And even though, we haven't had the greatest luck with the draft, especially recently, I would say that in the end, it didn't hurt us that much of not being able to draft high quality prospects, at least not recently, because we've been a very good team, So I'd say all those draft picks that we gave up for players like Naring, and who else is someone that we gave up a draft pick for? And then of course there's also Sapovlev, who we gave up draft picks for. There was, I believe, Tepley we gave up a draft pick or two for. And obviously Sapovlev and Tepley aren't on the team anymore, but still, we gave up quite a few draft picks for those kinds of players, and in the end, I don't think it really hurt us all that much, considering the circumstances that, we won the Stanley Cup once, and that we've been to the conference finals each of the past 3 years, so I would say, all in all, it was worth it. And even guys that's currently on our roster, it's not like they're old, I would say the average age is like 25, so it's not like you even necessarily need those prospects right away. So with that all being said, I think, once again, we did a pretty good job in this GM mode. So let's advance up to July 1st, see what our final career score is at. And of course, we'll see what happens with the playoffs. I'm anticipating that Chicago is going to go back-to-back here. And then we're actually going to do one final thing as well on July 1st, but it's not going to be free agency related. Yep, there it is. The Stanley Cup champions, once again, are the Chicago Blackhawks over Toronto in 6 games. So it's now basically the end of the year 10 season. So that being said, let's go over the awards. For the Ted Lindsay, you have David Struble of Pittsburgh. He also gets the Art Ross. For the Maurice Richard, Cole Caulfield. For the Lady Byng, David Struble. The Bill Masterton, you have Samuel Girard. For the Mark Messier Leadership Award, you have Connor McDavid, who is currently on San Jose. And then for the Jennings Trophy, you have Joey Holtby on New Jersey. And then for the Hart, between Matthews, Finley, and Struble, it is Struble. For the Conn Smythe, you have Adam Beckman of Chicago. For the Calder, between Rommel Temeta, Konstantin Yusulovich, and Daniel Cadwallader. Some absolutely strange names going on here, but let's see who wins it. You have Daniel Cadwallader of Toronto. Man, that is quite the name. For the Norris, between Quinn Hughes, Ty Smith, and Sage Weinstein, you have Ty Smith with 76 points this year. For the Frank J. Selke, between Kocha Delic, Deegan McMillan, and Michael Stenberg, it goes to Stenberg. I believe that is his second year in a row as well. For the Vezina, between Blomqvist, Mo Hyla, and Millward. These names are getting difficult to pronounce, man. It goes to Mohyla of the New York Islanders. And for the Executive of the Year, between Fitzgerald, Cheveldayoff, and Zito, it goes to Tom Fitzgerald of New Jersey. And the Jack Adams, between Muse, Leach, and Gomez, it goes to Jay Leach of New Jersey. So here's our final season score. We have 23 as our season score, and our total career score adds up to be 174. I'm going to put some of these ratings into the GM ratings, and then we will just about be finished here. But there is one more thing that I want to do. As is customary with these FHM franchise modes, at the end of every franchise mode, I like retiring the number of a couple of select players who were very, very good for us. And I don't think there's any question here. It has to be Austin Matthews, with obviously the what was it? I believe it was 580 something points. Yeah, it was 581 points in 482 games. He was phenomenal. No one else even came close to that level of point scoring. I mean, the next guy down is Amirov with 455 points in 577 games. So like I said, not even close to a point per game, and Matthews was well over a point per game. So I think this is a well-deserved jersey retirement. And as we edit retired numbers, Austin Matthews, there he is, number 34, and there it is. Austin Matthews' jersey number has officially been retired, even though he's not retired from the NHL just yet. Still, we had to do that. So that all being done, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in whatever the next GM mode series is. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet, but I will post a poll, I believe, at some point, so be on the lookout for that. But once again, I'll end this off here. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one.